And just looking at the players that we've already brought in to date, the 4 players that have come in, can you briefly talk about the signings we've made so far?
Well, I think what we've got to put everything in is into context. Start of last season, we only had 1 player that was contracted for longer than June 2019, and that was Elliot Bonds. Yeah. A great prospect that he is, but everybody knows where we were May, June last year, so we did what we had to do to keep the club going. But we only had 1 player, so this summer was always going to be difficult. We brought in Angelo Balanta and Kenny Clark during the season, who were a big influence along with Connor Wilkinson. And we've got to remember it was Peter Taylor and his coaching team that brought those players in, that identified them and brought the right players in. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, putting a squad together, and it's making certain you've got the right pieces. And we, with the investment and the new owners, we were able to extend the contracts during the season. Liam Gordon, Alex McQueen, Harry Phipps, 3 good players, 3 players with good potential for the club, and they done well and they deserved those extensions. We then took stock, Peter took stock, and there were the 3 players that we wanted to re-sign. Justin, Elliot Justin, player of the season last year. He was getting interest from a lot of other clubs. It's not just a question of saying here's a contract, sign it. These players have got their own families, their own careers that they're looking at. They're looking at their own future, but he's really bought in, and I'm really pleased that he's extended his contract. The same with Cheeky Candy and Matty Robinson, another 2 great players for this club, who are only getting better. But again, they had other options. So it's not just it's not just a question of we want you to sign here. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. We're starting to build a spine, which is a big part of assembling a squad. And I know Peter was pleased with that, what he'd done. And it's a question of going out looking for new players. Joan Luque, I hope I pronounced that right, and we probably would have signed him during the season last year, but we had so many players on the books, he really needed proper game time. And by signing at Concord, and I think Peter had a hand in that, gave him the game time that he needed, but he was training with us full time. Yeah. So he was getting the best of both worlds, some of the older players I've spoken to when we've been re-signing things like that, and I said, what's he like? And a few of them said, yeah, he's good. So we'll wait and see on that one. Harold Otamati, well, I mean, he's been a stalwart at Maidenhead. 2 years, played most games. I know he was thought very highly there. Yeah. And they were sad to lose him. But they were part-time. And he's shown what he can do at this level part-time. he can only get better with full-time training. I know the player has said that. He thinks it's an exciting time for him. So hopefully he can step up. Bagazan Graham, left-sided midfielder, left back, great cross. Every team needs players that can play in more than one position. You can't have a squad of 30, and so you are going to get injuries. So to have a player that can play in more than one position and comfortable in playing more than one position is a bonus. Again, I know he was felt highly of at FC, and really we've only got him because of the problems that they're going through at the moment, which we experienced last year.
Yeah.
So that's another one that we might not have signed. The goalkeeper, Joshua
Shusvik, yeah.
Joshua Shusvik, I'll never say that, not with my team. First of all, let's say, talk about Lewis Moore. Lewis Moore's been with us 5 years. He's been a great stalwart for the club. I hope it's helped him with his career, but he's 22, 23 in a couple of months. He needed to move on. If he's going to progress in any way in his career, being a number two anywhere isn't great for a goal. And listen, we're not going to say that there's every club in the country, the number two from the Premiership downwards, right? Except I suppose if you're in the Premiership, warming the bench has other financial rewards, which Lewis Moore didn't get here. But I do wish him well. He's a great lad, and I thank him for everything he's done for the club. So therefore you need a young player, a young lad who's going to learn his trade. He came highly recommended by Glenn Johnson, and he's a local lad, lives in Hornchurch. He wants to learn, and what better teachers than Peter Taylor and Glenn Johnson. So I'm really excited.
And obviously off the back of today's news, fans will be wondering, sort of looking at replacements for Connor Wilkinson. How are we progressing with bringing in some more new players ahead of the start of the season?
That's a difficult question for me. It's really one for Peter Taylor, but I think you're speaking to him tomorrow. As I always said, you can't rely on recruitment to me. Then we would be in trouble. But I have really been impressed with the way Peter Taylor and Terry Harris, seriously, they've done fantastically since, we started before the season ended. And the amount of players that they've seen, that they've spoken to, that have been in for interviews and chats, and then the amount of other people that he then speaks to. Well, Peter and Terry have got so many contacts, but they then go on and speak to managers, ex-managers, ex-coaches, ex-players that have played with the players that he's spoken to see how they would fit in with us. And that's really good. But it is difficult. We are in the National League. We're a non-league club, and it's not all about money. It's not all about how much you offer a player. The pool of, I think no one can underestimate the pool of actually playing in the English Football League. And there's a lot of players just want that opportunity. And obviously the better players, the players that we're looking to recruit, are not only being talked to by other National League clubs, but by League One and League Two.
Yeah.
The other thing that you've got at our level, don't forget, is that whilst the good players in the National League are paid a decent wage, it's not a mega wage. They can't, most of them just can't uplift families, homes from one end of the country to the other. So we are talking about southern-based, southeastern-based players, really. Mm-hmm. And so that brings the pool down. So there's a few clubs looking at that pool, but I'm optimistic. But again, most of the teams, most players that we've signed, their contracts would have ended 5th of May, 4th of May, 5th of May. Some of the clubs like us pay to the 30th of June, but all Football League players are paid to the 30th of June. And if they don't get another club by the 30th of July and they weren't offered another contract with their existing club, then they're due another month's money as well. So players are looking at their options, but we're talking to a number, and I'm fairly optimistic.
The new kits are set to be announced, designed by Nike, and it's a fantastic move for the club to be linked with, well, such a hugely successful and a massive sporting company. What are your thoughts on us signing a deal with Nike?
Well, the Nike deal was obviously a tie-up with Trinity Sports Holdings, Memphis 901, Tim Howard. It's those connections that have opened up a door for Nike. Let's not forget Nike are an international brand, and it is fantastic that we're going down that route. Now, we've always had the opportunity to go with Nike, but we've always gone down the route of having a bespoke kit for ourselves. Yeah. Now, Nike can't, it's not possible for them to do that on the sort of numbers that we turn over. If you, I don't know which Premiership clubs they're with, but if you're a Man United or a Chelsea, then I suppose there's the opportunity to do that. Yeah. So we have to have their off-the-shelf kit, which is fantastic. It's still fantastic. I'm not knocking that, but what it meant is that we couldn't this year go for our traditional red and blue colours, so we've gone with the white shirt, but we've customised it for us with the daggers. Yeah. And it looks, I think it looks great. Yeah. Now, I'm also a traditionalist. Everybody knows me, knows I'm a traditionalist. So going away from the red and blue, it was difficult, but it is good. Nike are manufacturers, so one of the challenges that Craig's been dealing with Nike in America, North America. They've got a separate division in Europe. They've got a separate division in the UK, and they don't supply the kit direct to clubs like us. So then we need to find I suppose for want of a word, of wholesaler. Yeah. And so we've had to set that up. There's been issues around how the sponsorship works and how different people, how that money is flowed around, and that's why it's been a little bit delayed in announcing it. But it is good. Craig and I are hopeful that over the coming months we can get a more traditionally coloured shirt in place for the 2020-21 season. Yeah. And the relationships that we've now made should enable us to do that. If that is the case, then this shirt will only last for this as the home kit for this season. And if we manage to do what we hope we can do, then we'll have another kit, home kit, 2020-21 season. Yeah. And this white shirt will become our away kit. But we've got to see on that. But it looks really nice, and we're hoping, well, not hoping, it will be. The first thing we'll wear it for the West Ham Under-23 game, and it'll be in the shop by then.
And there's been lots of work going on around the ground, around the club as well, and just starting with the pitch, and as pre-season approaches, can you give us some context on how the pitch is shaping and how it looks?
That's a nice easy question you're giving me now. This is for the first time, and I can't remember, the middle of June, and we've got grass all over the pitch. It really looks good. Mm-hmm. I remember the poor old Dave Andrews, the late Dave Andrews, ringing me up at the end of June and saying the pitch looks like a sand pit, and I had to say to him, give it another couple of weeks and we'll see some grass. But this year we've been a bit fortunate. The late May bank holiday was early. It sounds a bit odd, but the late May, you know what I mean. Yeah. The late May bank holiday was early, and we obviously have a number of cup finals and charity games. The last one is the Sunday of that bank holiday weekend. So because that was a week earlier, effectively this year, we started on that Tuesday. So we started a week earlier. The recent rain that we've had the last 10 days has really helped bring the seed on. The grass is growing really well. And so that's a good thing. I know lots of people would like a bit of sun, but there's a little bit more rain for a little bit longer, which is really good. We've also put this hybrid turf down. I don't know whether you can see that, comes out well. That's gone in the goal mouths. And the goal mouths are the two areas, especially the one in front of the new stand, that get worn the most. And the idea is the grass grows in between that, goes up through it, and the idea is that it strengthens those areas. The company that renovates the pitch, Ivy Verdi, they put that down this time last year at Peterborough United's pitch, and one of their training pitches, the whole pitch. Yeah. Apparently it costs about £250,000 to put it down over the whole pitch, so we're not going to do it just yet, but we're doing it but I did speak to Barry Fry, who couldn't speak highly enough of it. So we've got to thank Ivy Verdi for the work that they've done, and obviously our own groundsman has been absolutely fantastic, Jamie Honeyman. So well done to all of them. And let's hope it will be really good pitch service. At the end of the day, we're a football club, so as well as having good players, you've got to have a good service during the play. Yeah. So. And
construction work was also well underway on the new club shop.
You said well underway, I didn't say well underway. It started a couple of weeks ago. There's a great big hole. Anybody that's been down in the club will see a great big hole in front of the clubhouse. We've had a couple of setbacks. The concrete foundations, building control came down, obviously, as they have to, they need to inspect them, and they wanted them increased in certain areas. We obviously had to move a drain because of regulations. You can't have manholes coming up inside a building any longer. So those were a couple of things. The drains, how they were situated, we weren't completely aware of that until the hole was dug. Mm-hmm. Another setback we've had is that building control insisted that the roof is raised by a few inches, which has meant that the steelwork had to be redone. I'm pleased to say that tomorrow the steel frame will be slotted into place. So then we can actually then see something happening. But we are about a week to 10 days behind. I spoke to the builders on Friday, and they're confident that everything will be ready for the start of the season. And
one final note, the club has also been busy searching for a commercial manager ahead of the new season. Can you shed some light on that as well?
Yeah, no. Obviously, we've run the last 18 months with just myself and Charlie Fraser. And Charlie's done a great job, but his own ambition he's not a commercial manager. And we really needed someone to go out and sell the club out in the community. So we advertised. We had over 90 applications, and some really high calibre ones as well, and which is a great testament to the club, I think. And we whittled it down, the directors and myself, we whittled it down to 6-7 people who Paul Gwynn and I interviewed. And we done a proper long, exhaustive interview process, and I'm really pleased with the outcome. I can say now, I can't give you his name just yet, I can say now that we've appointed somebody who's accepted. We'll start early in July. The reason why I can't give you his name at the moment is that he does currently work for another football club, a bigger football club than ours, but they've got a commercial department, and he works within that, and it wouldn't be fair on him and them if I announce his name now. He's working through his notice period, but yes, a young man with experience, not just at football, but with other sport, and he was really excited. He recognises that there's foundations here that can be built on, and yeah, that's another thing to be excited about. There's a lot of exciting things today, so no, that's good. Thank you.